Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a real historical puzzle about a 17th century Indian king. How is it that, almost 350 years after his death, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is seen by some as a god and by others as, well, a common thief? Let's investigate.
So where do we even begin? Well, the best place to start is the legacy itself, the fact that people just can't seem to agree on who he really was.
On one side, you've got takes like this. He's called a thief, a robber. The whole argument here is that he was just a guerrilla fighter, someone who had to attack from the shadows because he was too weak to take on the mighty Mughal Empire head-on. But then, on the flip side, you get a completely opposite view. He's seen as this godlike figure, a national hero who literally saved the subcontinent. And, somewhere in between all that, there are folks who say, hey, he was a powerful regional king, sure, but still just a local hero.
To get to the bottom of this, we can't just look at today. We've got to go back, way back, to the world he was born into.
Our investigation really kicks off by looking at the absolute chaos that was 17th century India.
See, back in the 1600s, India wasn't one unified country. It was more like a powder keg of competing powers. You had the colossal Mughal Empire pushing down from the north, powerful sultanates running the show in the central Deccan region, and then you had European powers like the Portuguese setting up shop on the coast. It was a place of constant war and shaky alliances. And into this mess, Shivaji was born in 1630. His mother, Jijabai, was a huge influence, raising him on stories of ancient heroes. She planted an idea in his head that would become his life's mission, Swaraj. Now, this wasn't just about rebellion. It was a vision of self-rule, of an independent kingdom for his people, totally free from outside control. And he didn't waste any time. He captured his first fort at the incredible age of 15. 15?
Okay, let's move on to the first big piece of evidence in our case, his absolutely legendary mind for military strategy.
Just look at his famous encounter with the general of Zarkhan in 1659. Khan was this huge, fearsome guy sent with a massive army in one order, capture Shivaji, dead or alive. He proposed a private meeting, to talk things over. But Shivaji's spies got word it was a trap. So what does Shivaji do? He says yes to the meeting. But he walks in wearing armor hidden under his clothes and carrying a concealed weapon. So when Khan springs his trap, Shivaji was ready, turning what should have been his own assassination into an absolutely stunning victory. And his genius wasn't just for the battlefield. In 1666, he took a massive risk. He traveled right into the lion's den, the court of his greatest enemy, the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. The gamble did not pay off. He was immediately put under house arrest, trapped deep inside enemy territory.
For Emperor Aurangzeb, problem solved, right? His biggest rival was now his prisoner. But he seriously underestimated the man he had captured. In what has to be one of the most daring prison breaks in all of history, Shivaji just vanished. And get this, it took him only 99 days. 99 days to escape, travel over 1,000 kilometers through hostile territory in disguise, and show up back in his own capital. He left the most powerful empire in the world completely speechless.
Okay, so being a brilliant warrior is one thing, but being a just ruler? That's a whole different ballgame. So let's look at the evidence for how he actually governed.
This is where you see he wasn't just building an army, he was trying to build a kingdom based on real principles. I mean, in an age where brutality and plunder were just the norm in war, historical sources show Shivaji put a revolutionary code of conduct in place. His soldiers had strict orders: do not harm civilians, do not disrespect women, and do not desecrate holy places of any religion.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This quote, this observation, it doesn't come from one of his fans. It's from Kafi Khan, a Mughal court historian, a guy literally on the payroll of Shivaji's enemies. Even as one of his harshest critics, he had to admit that Shivaji was, quote, careful to maintain the honor of captured women, even those of his enemies. That's powerful.
So a brilliant strategist, a principled ruler, but what does it all really add up to? Well, this is where we see his impact went way beyond just battles and borders. It was about creating a new identity.
So during this time, something called iconoclasm was pretty common. Basically, it meant invading armies would often destroy local temples and religious symbols. And it wasn't just for the loot. It was a political move to demoralize people and, erase their entire cultural identity.
This is exactly what Shivaji fought against. He wasn't just fighting for land, he was fighting for a culture.
Records show that during his campaigns down south, he didn't just put a stop to the destruction, he actively reversed it, using state money to rebuild major temples that had been torn down. That sent a clear message: this new kingdom was going to protect its people's heritage.
And his foresight, it was just incredible. While most other Indian rulers at the time were totally focused on land-based power, Shivaji saw the future. He knew that to have real independence, real Swaraj, you had to control the seas. So he built what many call the first modern Indian navy, a fleet strong enough to go toe-to-toe with the European colonial powers on the water and secure India's own coastline.
So let's bring this all home. Maybe the most compelling evidence we have for Shivaji's greatness doesn't come from his friends, it comes from his enemies.
I mean, just think about this. When Shivaji died in 1680, the news gets to his #1 enemy, Emperor Aurangzeb. This is the man who spent a fortune and nearly 20 years of his life trying to crush Shivaji. And his reaction, he admitted he was a great captain and the only one who has had the magnanimity to raise a new kingdom. That's from his arch nemesis.
And that respect just echoed through the centuries. Hundreds of years later, Lord Mountbatten, the last British Viceroy of India, looked back on his legacy and said that a leader of his talent, if born somewhere else, could have achieved, well, global dominance.
And this really gets to the heart of our original question. Why the different legacies? It's because Shivaji wasn't just one thing. To the Mughal Empire, he was a dangerous enemy. To his people, he was a protector. To his rivals, a master strategist. And to modern India, he's a symbol of national pride. He was all of these things at once, and that's why his name still means so much today.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. When even a leader's most bitter enemies have to acknowledge their greatness, how should that shape our own understanding of who they were and what they did?